What's going on, everybody? I hope this video finds you guys doing well. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk to you guys about like random questions I see on these Facebook groups. I'm in a lot of reselling Facebook groups because I just like to help people when I can and like kind of share my experience there, because like my personal friends on Facebook don't care as much as like maybe like-minded resellers most of you guys. But anyway, I frequent these Facebook groups and I see a lot of questions, and a lot of times on this channel I'm kind of struggling to come up with new content. So I picked like 6 or 7 questions that I saw over the past couple days on these Facebook groups, and I just want to answer some of those questions for you to the best of my knowledge. So the first question was, what advice would you give somebody that's going thrifting for the first time? So if you're just starting out and you're going to go out and try to find new inventory, the first thing I suggest you do is figure out how to look up sold comps on your phone. If you're on eBay and like, let's say I'm looking for HP printer model 5532, you could type in HP printer 5532 in the search bar, and then you can filter and then go down and click sold. Now all you're gonna see on your phone is sold items from that exact model number. This will give you a really good idea of what the item's worth. And a lot of times I'm at a thrift store and I'll see a printer for like $8. I'll be able to look it up in the store and see that it's worth $80 or $100. Now that's something I'm gonna pick up. Now when I'm looking at these sold comps, I wanna see multiple solds. Like I wanna be able to scroll through and see that a lot have sold. eBay's only going to show you from the past 90 days, so you're getting like a 90-day snapshot of the market, which is good because it's giving you like a really good like current market from the past 3 months. Now, if it's a really rare and unique item, you might see none listed and maybe 1 or 2 sold, or you might see like 3 listed and 1 sold. So those kind of items, you kind of have to like use your judgment. You know, if it's something you could buy for $10 and potentially sell for $200, it might be a long tail item based off the amount of sell-through rate. But something like that might be worth sitting on the shelf for 5 or 6 months, and then you can get 10x on your money. But that's the kind of way I look at it. But the most important thing you want to do is make sure you learn how to look up the sold comps first, figure out how to assess a market, and then make sure you're buying stuff that's actually going to sell through and not sit around on the shelf. The next question I saw is, what's everyone's favorite time to go to Goodwill? Me personally, the one that I like to frequent opens at 10 o'clock a.m. So whenever I want to go to that store, I'm there right at 10 o'clock. And I notice I see a lot of the same faces there. So I think a lot of other resellers kind of have the same kind of like mentality I do. And I talk to these people on the regular, so I know that they're resellers, the familiar faces I see at that Goodwill. Now, I did have to go to my son's school yesterday for an open house, and I swung by there at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I did find a few things, probably not as good as my normal morning visit, but what I did notice is as I was there shopping around, I saw the employees wheeling out carts. So you're getting fresh inventory coming out into the store in the early afternoon. So I don't think there's really a bad time to go. It's kind of like hit or miss, you know, like if you can get there and they're pulling carts out, well, you're going to be the first one to see those. I remember I was there like last week. I was done. I didn't really find much. And we were actually about to leave the store, and I think I was empty-handed even. Well, they wheeled out a cart of shoes, and right on top I saw some steel toe Ariat work boots in like perfect condition for $12.98. I since listed those on eBay for $100 plus shipping. They haven't sold yet, but I know they're a really nice pair of boots, and that was a good find. And that just goes to show you, sometimes it's more about timing. But me personally, I like to get there right when they open. The next question is, I accidentally switched labels on 2 packages. What do I do? This sounds crazy, but I've actually done it at least half a dozen times. It really sucks, and I don't know how I do it because I have a pretty good system in place to make sure I don't mix up packages, but sometimes we get distracted and sometimes we make mistakes. So it has happened to me several times before. So generally speaking, what I will do is I will contact each buyer, let them know what's happened, and then I try to work with them, and I really want to try to get that buyer to ship it to the other buyer. Because now that the item's out of our hands and it's going somewhere else, we don't want to have to wait for it to come all the way back to us and then us have to reship it to the other buyer. Now, generally speaking, these buyers are really understanding because they're both in the same boat. They both are getting the wrong product delivered to them. So oftentimes they will go out of their way. It is a huge inconvenience, but it's all about communication, being kind and understanding to the buyer, apologizing profusely, letting them know you did something wrong, accepting responsibility for the mistake, and then doing something to make it right. So what I'll do is, like, say they they message me back and say, hey man, it cost me $10 to ship the bayonet from Tennessee to your other buyer in Illinois, or something like that, something along those lines. So what I'll do is I'll send them a $15 partial refund, and there again, I'm giving them a few extra dollars for their gas and time and inconvenience and the whole matter. It's a little bit more out of pocket for us, but it's what you have to do to make things right. It's your mistake. You got to accept responsibility, apologize to the buyer, communicate with them, and then try to get them to ship it to each other. Now, occasionally, the one person might get pissed off and say, I just want a refund, and they'll send you back the other item, and then, you know, you can go about your business. But oftentimes, I think this has happened to me maybe 4 or 5 times, and I think 2 or 3 of those times I actually got both buyers to ship it to each other. And so it works out. It's a headache, and it takes a lot of extra communication, but sometimes when you make a mistake, you got to go out of your way to make it right. The next question I saw was, this person posted a picture of these 2 Supreme fanny packs with Bart Simpson all over it, and it says, I picked up 2 Supreme fanny packs for dirt cheap. How much should I list these for? Now, this is obviously a new seller, because this is like a huge red flag. If you find something that's too good to be true, a Gucci purse, Louis Vuitton, the Supreme brand, these things are highly fake. There's probably more fakes going around than actual real purses or real fanny packs or real Supreme items. And that's why I'm really reluctant when I'm out sourcing at yard sales and stuff. I'll pass up Chanel and Gucci purses and Louis Vuitton because it's not really in my wheelhouse, and I don't want to take the risk. If I'm at a yard sale and someone's asking $50 for a Gucci purse and it might be fake, I'm not going to risk that $50. Even if I think it's a $200 purse, it's not worth the risk of me losing that $50. And more importantly, it's not worth the risk of me listing something fake on eBay. You can get your account suspended for several days. And if you have too many of these infractions and you're taking too many risks and it's all catching up to you, you can get your account banned for life. And a lifetime ban on eBay is no joke. If you call them, you can call over and over and over again. Let me talk to your supervisor. Let me talk to your supervisor. And you can jump through 1,000 hoops, and they will tell you, no, this is it. It's black and white. You're banned for life. It's nothing you want to deal with. It's not a position you want to find yourself in. So pass up on those items that are too good to be true, and pass up on those items that you think there's a possibility that they may be a fake, because oftentimes they are, and it's really not worth the risk. The next question I saw is, what if a buyer claims he didn't receive the package? So if you're a new seller and you don't have really a lot of experience reselling, this could be very stressful, and it could really ruin your day. But I'm here to tell you, as long as you upload the tracking to eBay and you have tracking information, the tracking information shows that the item was delivered, and you obviously sent it to the right address, and it matches the zip code where it was delivered, eBay will side with you every time. So you don't have to worry about that. As soon as the buyer opens a case and says the item wasn't received, eBay gives you the opportunity to input the tracking number. Even though it's already in their system, this is one hoop you have to jump through when they open a case on you for the item not being delivered. That's the only thing you have to do. This has happened to me dozens of times. I always just go in the case, and eBay will say, please add tracking information. I'll add the tracking information. I'll make a short note, and I'll say that I printed out the label so I know the address was right, and the address was the item was marked as delivered on August 29th, 2022, and I'll send that to eBay. And every single time I do that, I never have to refund the buyer. It's just lost in the mail. And then I communicate with the buyer. I don't just ignore them. I'll send them a message and say, hey, I see your item wasn't delivered. I think you need to contact the post office with this tracking number, and they're going to help you locate the package. Because I've had buyers that tell me their package isn't delivered, and I see issues with the tracking where it's not marked as delivered, which is kind of the flip side of this. If it's not marked as delivered, you as the seller, you need to call the carrier and open up a lost package claim. And they'll jump into action. They'll call you from different local post office, and they'll locate that package for you. And I think I've shipped out close to 25,000 packages since I've been doing this. And honestly, I think only 1 or 2 or 3 have got lost in the mail. And maybe 1 or 2 of those was international before I used to do just global shipping. Sometimes I would ship overseas. And that proved to be problematic because oftentimes we'd have issues, and or the item would get lost. So I stopped doing that years ago, but the global shipping program is great through eBay. If you're not utilizing that, I definitely suggest you use that. But that's how you deal with like if a buyer claims that he didn't receive the package. The next question was, what do you guys do about accounting for your eBay business? Now, if you're getting to the level where you want to get legitimate and you want to get an LLC and take this from being a side hustle to being full-time, well, actually, I kind of need to rephrase that because now there's a new rule that if you sell over $600, eBay is going to 1099 you. So I guess beginners and veterans, when it comes to eBay alike, really need to be on their game when it comes to accounting. You want to make sure that the government's not getting you for more money than you want to give up, and you want to capitalize on getting the most money out of your side hustle or your legitimate reselling business as you can. So when it comes to accounting, what you want to do, well, first off, let me say like a little disclaimer. I'm not an accountant. I did go to school and I took a lot of accounting classes all the way up to advanced accounting. I wanted to be an accountant, and then I switched my major to business management because I started an eBay business when I was in college, and the eBay business started to take off. So I kind of changed my mind from accounting. I wanted to be a business owner, and I switched to business management. But I did take all the accounting classes, so I'm very familiar with accounting. I understand the process very well. But there again, I'm not a licensed accountant or a CPA, so I can only give you my experience and the advice that I have from my experience. So what should you guys do about accounting for your business? So you want to keep track of everything that you're spending, mainly everything that's going out, because that's what you're going to be able to write off when it comes tax time. And you want to be able to go to your accountant and be like, hey, here's my 1099 from eBay. It says I sold $40,000 this year. Now, then you'll have all the information of the money that was outgoing for you, the expenses that you spent on inventory. You can write off your gas mileage, so you want to keep track of your gas mileage. The government pays you 55 cents per mile. So if you drive 10,000 miles for work in a year, that's a $5,500 tax write-off. So let's say we sold $40,000 and our gross income was $20,000. Well, immediately the taxable income is $20,000, but then you take your write-offs from there. But immediately, let's say we can write off $5,500 of our taxable income. That goes from $20,000 to $14,500 your taxable income. And then you have a lot of other things you can write off. Like this is my warehouse. So I spend X amount of dollars a month on the warehouse. That's all a tax write-off. My electric for this place, my internet for this place. I keep all my receipts for those things, or my bills that come in the mail after I pay them, to keep track of how much I spend. I also keep out every bank statement I get for the year. I have a business bank account, and if you're doing a business or a side hustle, I recommend you get a separate account because it makes it so easy at the end of the year. I take these 12 monthly statements. I'm able to highlight everything that needs to be written off, and then I'm able to itemize it or categorize it and say, like, I spent X amount of money on shipping supplies, I spent X amount of money on this, that, or the other. I have all the information, all the receipts from all my inventory purchases, so I'm able to say, hey, I spent X amount of dollar in inventory. So you're basically just taking everything that you can write off and keeping track of it in one way or another. Now, to give you a quick example, like I use my Notes app on my phone, which is backed up to the iCloud. So if I get a new phone or if I lose my phone, I'll still have all that information there. So what I write in my Notes app, and I always have my phone on me, like just like you and everybody else. But if I go to a yard sale and I spend $50, as soon as I get in my car, I write down the date, and then I say yard sale, $50 cash. And then let's say the next day I go to Goodwill and I spend $40 on my business debit card. So then I'll write, the next date, and I'll write Goodwill, and then I'll write $40 on my debit card. And then I'll show you real quick. When I go to like a yard sale, I have like a little file folder thing over here, and I'll write down everything I got and how much I paid for it, and then the total, $200 cash. Here's each item I got and what I paid for it. And that way, if I get audited or something, I have the information in my Notes app that tells me the date and time and the money I spent, and then I have this information of every little thing I bought that day, and then the amount of cash I spent. And then I just keep these stacked up in like a little on the top of my desk organizer thing. So at the end of the year, it helps me just add up everything I spent for cash, debit, etc. But that's enough about accounting. Like I said, if you're in that position, it's best to go talk to a CPA. But that's just basically the I don't know, accounting 101 for reselling, you know, lesson 1 basically. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about today, the last question I saw, and I've actually seen this question multiple times. I think it's kind of a strange question, but is reselling immoral? Is what we do immoral? I personally don't think so. I don't think it's immoral in any way. If I'm at a yard sale, these people want to get rid of this junk. So I'm there to give them cash for the stuff they want to get rid of, and that's why they're there. That's why they took the day off. That's why they got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, pulled out these tables and set all this shit up. They want to get cash for that stuff. To them, it's stuff they no longer want, and I'm sure most of you guys have had yard sales before, and you don't care. Like, you just want to get rid of everything that's in the driveway or everything that's in the garage that day. So that's the main goal. And then also, like, I think a lot of people ask this question because maybe they, like, if you go to estate sales, you know, you're buying like a dead person's stuff or something like that. But even in that case, I think you're doing a huge service because you're taking an item that someone can no longer use because they passed away, and they really liked and appreciated that item, and you're kind of giving it new life. You're taking it from this space where it's no longer like loved and appreciated, and you're putting it online, finding the perfect buyer for that item, sending it to them, and it just breathes new life to that item. You're making someone's day. I've had people message me and be like, hey, I've been looking for this item for years. I can't believe you had it. I'm so excited. I'm so stoked. Thank you so much. Which is like, you know, it's huge for us because like you get that feedback from them. This is like a very like, you know, you're always working by yourself. You're not getting a lot of like positive feedback coming back to you other than the little short feedbacks people leave on eBay, which most of the time is generic. But when you get a message like that, it makes you feel good about what you're doing because you're the person that went out and found this item, and now you gave it to someone who's really going to like and appreciate it again. I don't really know how else to say it, but to me, reselling is not immoral at all. I love what I do. I think I'm going to do this till the day I die. I just absolutely love it. I've been doing this full time for 9 years, going on 10 years, and I still love it. Every day I wake up, it doesn't even feel like work. I'm excited to get here to this warehouse. I'm excited to start my day. I'm excited to go source new items and go treasure hunting, as I like to call it sometimes. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And I hope that like you got some insight from this video. And I'll probably do some more videos like this if you guys like it, because it's cool to take random questions from random people and kind of answer them in the best way I know how and share that information with you guys. So I hope you found something helpful in this video, and I hope you learned at least one thing that you can implement in your business. And if you liked the video and if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. And until next time, peace.